All right, you devils out there, happy Friday. Well, okay, we're going to stick to the majors today. And plenty of volatility this week, as I know you all are well aware of. So let's dig in here. I'm going to move a couple things here. Okay, now this is the count we've been kind of following last couple of weeks here. The idea that the 3 was in here somewhere. We're starting this retrace into a 4. Well, given the depth of it, we may want to reconsider this, which is why I have an alternate count prepared for us today. One of the problems with this count has always been the 1 wave. We've looked at, possibly a truncated fifth, diag into it. When it's that unclear, right, it makes me uneasy. So it makes me want to look for an alternative. Now, with this new information we have here, I think we have a better fit, a better solution. I'm not saying it couldn't be 3, 4, and we're off to the 5. The alternate solution, which I think you'll agree, certainly has more upside. So let's consider this. If we're going to try and stay with this count, that there's a 1, pick your 1, right? If we use this 1, 2, 3, we're doing a WXY to get this done down here. Let me open this up real quickly. We don't want to abandon this count just yet. You're seeing a nice reaction off of this. Interesting. It's the well, there's 2 things to note here. Right? There's a little fair value gap here, but you'll notice the date of that. Oh, I think it's right here. That is. Let's go back a day. I think it's right there, right? So there's the election, right? There's crypto-friendly admin, right? All the way back. I mean, 99.9% of it. All the way back. Okay, so some buyer's remorse, maybe. You're seeing the fear index is pretty extreme right now in crypto, certainly in Bitcoin, and you have massive outflows from the ETFs. So that's sadly, that's not always bad news, because if everybody's bailing, right, that's the time to be looking, to get long. I'm not saying be reckless and just buy it, just because others are selling it. I'm just saying that, too many people on one side of the boat, right, it tends to capsize. Could it be the 4? Well, yeah, we're within the realm of possibility, if assuming this is a 2. If I just draw this up here, if that's the 2, and we put in the 3 here, right? You can see the clean count to get there. Well, we're not quite to the 50. So still valid for a wave 4 to be coming in here. This is the unmitigated order flow. What's that date there? That's October. So then here's where the little retrace here, the push down before we go up, right? We get the election result here and then all the way back. See, some people will look at this and go, oh, shit, man. Well, I guess that's a deep 4. Whoa, shit, what else could it be? Well, let's just pause for a second, because if you think, again, with Bitcoin, you're always better to be thinking long-term, not, how's it this week to next week? And, if you're a day trader, different story. But if you're thinking long-term, well, the very real possibility here, we've capped rather than a 3, we've just put in a 1, right? Given the depth of the retracement, and that we've essentially gone full round trip from the election, 1, 2. Well, that puts 3. I know that's bull porn. But again, I'm just using. Now, granted, I'm in log scale, so from the projection of the proposed 2 down here, looking for a 1618, 175 for that wave 3, but the whole thing just goes up, right? So what now? That remains to be seen, and as is the case with Elliott Wave, which obviously, if you've been tracking these videos and your own counts over the last couple of weeks, well, months more like, wave counts change, right? New information is provided to, and we just adjust accordingly. So I think the bad news here is good news, right? That if it's a 1 and we're coming into the 2 here. Again, right, upside here just got a whole lot more interesting. So if you're trading with leverage, well, you're probably having if you were long, right? Liquidation, stops getting hit. All right, it's, downside to levering up, right? It's great when you're right? It's terrible when you're wrong. Then, of course, unless you sold it, right, you're having a great week. My assumption is most are here, they're bullish long term. So we keep my bias, well, shit, for what it's worth, my bias remains unchanged, right? I still think we're going up well to new highs, right? It may take longer, but I don't think we've changed enough here to suggest that the bull market's over here and we're going down into the, below 50, et cetera. So, I mean, is it scary? Yeah. But again, give it some perspective. If that's a 1-2, maybe you don't want to be singing the blues so quickly. All right, yeah, I know. You look at your account portfolio, the value is down. Mine's down too. But I don't sweat it. You got to adjust. I'm not telling you how to feel. I'm just saying consider the longer term potential here, and maybe ease up on any of the margin trading. Just a suggestion, particularly for Bitcoin, right? You don't want to let something said. Well, you don't want to let something like the Bybit hack or something coming out of DC, let them take your Bitcoin. Just a suggestion. Right, so if it's 1-2, well, we got to get out of there, right? So it sure does look like a completed 5 coming down. 1, 2, 3. You have to do a 3, 4, 5, right? So we've got an impulse here. Remember, of course, we begin and we end with an impulse, right? So here's an impulse to finish the proposed C of a Y of a 2. It's a little tricky up here. It looks like you've got to do A, B, C into a W, X, A, B, C. Is it, the perfect structure? No. Is it valid? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, right? It's all been very tricky here as we've gone sideways. Now here's the distribution, if you think of it that way. Right? A lot of people like to just qualify it that way. So all of this consolidation here, all of this accumulation, distribution, call it what you will, right? If you're thinking it's 3, 4, we're thinking accumulation, we go off to the new high, right? For the 1, 2, 3, accumulate off to the high. Well, looks like that's been incorrect, and this has been distribution. Now, there's always, these are things that you can't plan for. You can't plan for the Bybit hack. You can't plan for, this administration. You can't plan hour to hour, right? So it's just one. I'm trying to be friendly here to my MAGA fans. One new piece of news every hour, certainly 3, 4, 5 a day, right? Which of course makes the market nervous. What's the one thing the market hates? Uncertainty, right? And we are at peak uncertainty. It probably will be for the next 3 3/4 years. Right? So anyway, all right, that aside, I remain just as bullish as ever. Where's the opportunity, right? Well, let this complete a 5. Let's get some sort of a 5 in here. I'll take the retrace and reload. That's my plan. I'm not saying that should be your plan. It's just that's how I look at it technically. Okay, I'd like to see. We want to see something get swept here. So this pivot right here, I'm on a 4-hour. That pivot needs to get swept, right? So we can confirm the low, right? Because this is all one move down. So can we get a sweep here so we get at least enough to confirm this low, and maybe we're getting started on a little impulse coming off the low. It's very early. Don't let your mind's eye fill it in. Do we have it? Maybe. It's kind of skinny. I'm on a 30-minute. I would always tell you 60 minutes and higher, right? The wave counts will be much easier to spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish it. It's very tempting to just fill it in your mind's eye and go, oh, okay, well, the low's in. You don't FOMO, right? If we're going to go up here, there will be a retracement. There always is. So I would just be patient here. Let's let some of this volatility die down a bit. Perhaps things look better going into next week. Okay, let me. That's enough on Bitcoin. There's not much more to say. Right? We have a potential pivot low here. It's logical, right? We're all the way back here. We've given back all of the Trump bump. We've given 99.9% of it back. Okay, do we start over again? Well, if it's 1, 2, we start on the next impulse. Okay, let me pause there, and I'm going to stick to the majors today. All right, let's get over to Solana here. It's tricky, right? So this part of the count, the Elliott in here was just the third wave. It's just ridiculous, right? It's so good. 1, 2, 3. Looks like we've had that same sort of complexity, right? It's very, very similar to Bitcoin. This, I feel like this finishes a little bit better here because I don't want to go 1 2 1 2. It doesn't work as well with what comes off of this here. So the idea that we went W, this is a 5, that's a 3, that's a 5, A, B, C into an X. Then we're doing this as the triangle for the Y here allowed for this 4. I thought a better solution here. This is very 4-like, so a bit of an extension in the 1 1 2 3. We pause 4 up for the 5, right? So I don't want to try and connect these two. They don't look to me as though they're connected. This is part of a correction. We invalidate here, so the idea of this being a 4 is out. So we're clearly in the 1 2 camp. It doesn't look the same, right? This is why you always don't get locked into log scale only. You got to look at it in both. So if you're looking at that thinking, oh, 3 4 5, oh, well, what that's not an impulse. So A, B, C into an X candidate. We'd like this to be done here, but let's go to a 4-hour. Excuse me, right? So you can see that what I was trying to work through here. It does look like I get an impulse here into a 2. It's not the big 3 you would have hoped, and while certainly some are going to want to do this, right? They're going to want to connect these two. I don't do that, right? It's just, you do it, count it like as you will. But my suggestion here is that this is all one. This is one continuous impulse here. This is part of the corrective action here. So W A B C into an X. Well, if we're going to be done here, this has got to be. It's got to be an A B C, which it looks like we can get that in there. It looks like we can get an A at this probably triangle and then into a C. Here, looks like that flies. So A, B, C, D, E into a B, A, B, pardon me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we get a candidate here for this to be done. Now this, it looks a little odd right here because of the log scale. And you look at, certainly we want to get back into the value area. Now I'm pulling it from the proposed pivot low here that went up. If I pull that back a little bit and we take it, let's take it from this last low here before we go up. Right on the edge of value. From this low, right, as we all go into this up to the high, well, we're on the edge here. There's POC, again, from all of this trading that we've done here. Here's the highest volume. Okay, this needs to start getting some legs. Now, if you take it out of log scale, right, you get a different look at it. Let me go back to the daily. And here, we'll take this off for a second. Now, if we look at it in log scale, even though the 1, 2, again, of course, it distorts when we're in log scale because of the compression. So if we look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, now that 5 looks more prominent here. You can't, I mean, you can count it as you'd like, but A, B, C. Again, I don't want to connect these two. I think that's just bad Elliott. Whoops, let's get that back there. Okay, so down we come. A, can we get a triangle in there? Well, perhaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like that's done. We've swept some liquidity, right? Always the telltale sign of a good low. Was there a liquidity sweep? Now they're doing it a little bit ahead. Here was the last invalidation was right here. If I do it right here, right? So when we break that, no possibility that we're doing a 1, 2, which was for a while that was a contender. Could we have gone 1, 2 if we had held here? Possibly with that break, that's off the table, which is it's. If you're long Solano, that's not necessarily great news for you, but it's clarifying, right? It gives us clarity. Okay, so it can't be a 1, 2. So what's the alternate? If we completed here a 5 and we're going down for a 2, then I'm going to pull from the low. Or where's the most common location for a wave 2? Between the 50 and the 618. Boom. Now, I'm not saying buy it. I'm just saying, right, we've got a candidate here for a technical low. Let's give it a little time to breathe and a little bit, it's a daily. We go to an hourly. Okay, kind of looks like we're just looking at here. Can we get out of here? Can we get a 5 out of here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a little bumpier on the finish here. 1, 2, 3. You have to do it here. 4, 5. So if I label that here, 1, 2, you'd have to do it here because you got. Well, if you do it here, then that's the implication, right? That we're not done. Which, considering we didn't go golden, right, is certainly a possibility here. A, B, C into that 4. 1, 2, Yeah, I think that's what you've got there, actually. A, B, C, which suggests another leg down. You see the difference here. If I do it this way, which looks like a better fit? I mean, even if you did it here, A, B, and you went with a running flat, is it a little hopium? Maybe. I don't think you can work a A, B, C, D here. Mighty skinny 4. Certainly a possibility. Well, okay. So what else would we do there? If it's 1, 2, which is reasonable. Okay. If we're pulling from this is the 3, which would be your first thought. Let's get our wave 4 on there. A, B, C. A, B, C. I guess it goes without saying, we can't do that. Well, when I say can't do that, right? If you're applying Elliott Wave, you can't do that, right? We can't finish that with the 3. This is certainly a real contender. This is equally a contender. Well, how are we going to know? Well, what makes that all the more tricky is that if this is the 4 here, right? You're expecting an impulse, so we could go a little higher. If it's the 1 wave, you're also expecting an impulse. So it's your interpretation. Actually, here, let's look at this. Let's revisit this. Let's consider the alternate. Here, come here. Let's do the whole thing right here. 1, 2. 1, 2. Maybe we can get this to work. It still doesn't. Let's take it up a degree. Here, I'm supposed to have this done here, and let me pause for a second. This would be the most accommodative, right? If you're a bull here, 1, 2, we work the 3, 4, and we have a very skinny 5 relative to the 1, which is my hesitation there. Oh, this would have to come. Well, I guess we do it here. Excuse me. We do it right here. 3, 4, 5. So the 4, it's just feels like you're trying too hard, right? So it's just, could it be? Okay, well, it could be. You know, if we're gonna do 4, 5 here, and we come back down into 3, certainly that's viable. I wouldn't get too consumed with, oh Jesus, it's not perfect Elliott, right? Don't expect the Elliott to be perfect. It's at times it is, right? Certainly on the way up it was. Now this gets tricky, right? And it could be, don't feel like if you're just, I gotta trade it. You don't have to trade it. What's the next hurdle it's gonna run into? Well, we got multiples here. Certainly from the 2, right? That's a subdominant. Oh, so, all right. Just reflexively, I hope everybody, right? If you're looking at a range, that's the first thing you do is put on the golden zone. So do we have a contender here? Well, the first thing we got to do is get through that. And then if we do get through that, then we got to get through that. So there's a lot of upside resistance here that's going to have to get taken and cleared before you're really going to lean into the idea. Okay, I guess we just got a very skinny little 5th of that to finish it. So the A, B, C. Just look again. This can be helpful. That's why I do this. Or I encourage you to do the same. So this is what we're saying. It's not like it's not possible. It's just the balance between the two is. It doesn't make me want to plow in and put money at risk. I'd rather that fatten up a little bit, right? So it balances it out. Which, how do we do that, right? Then it looks more like that. Oh, so we'd be waiting for another leg down, put it into the golden zone, A, B, C. And so if I finish it, A, B, C, come here, something like that, into the 4. Now let's do the whole thing. 2. That rolls over. We drop into the golden zone. we get better channeling. I said this is my opinion, right? This starts to look better. So we've got that 4 coming in here for, maybe at that 50. 3. So the 3 looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C into the 4. 38. One more down to the golden zone. And what does that do for us? Right, just as I drew it. Balances it out better. Market is under no obligation to do anything ever. Right? It's just, if you're going to put money at risk, wouldn't you prefer to see a structure like that you're a bit more confident in? There's no hurry, right? I mean, we got a long way to go to challenge those highs. So don't feel like, oh God, if I'm gonna miss the turn, I don't want to miss the turn. That creates more losses than anything else, right? FOMO. There's never any need for it, ever. If you're doing it, you're just, doing yourself a disservice. You never need to do it. Okay, let me keep moving. Okay, SUI. I wish I knew if that was the right way to. SUI? SUI. I guess it's SUI. Okay, all right. Well, this looks interesting. So this has been an incredibly raging bull since August. Hard to argue with the impulse on the way up. It does look like we're doing ABC triangle X, and we're trying to finish this with another ABC to bring it down for a 2. So this being a 1. I should do that. I thought I had. So that we have a 1. We're looking on the 2, 4, 5 to be up here. Looks like a reasonable plan in sync with what we're proposing for Bitcoin, although this suggests another leg down. It's too soon to finish here. That would just be an A, B, and we'd get another C down here at the POC. Down a degree, prior 3, 4. All of this untouched. Right, that pivot, right? We didn't get to it. So we dig a little deeper into this. Now, if Bitcoin is rallying, we'd probably be back here revisiting this. A, B, C. See, this is tricky up here. There's a 3 that finishes here. So it forces me into an A, B, C. WX makes me think there's more to come here. Now, I will adjust accordingly if we take out that X wave here and we start to do this. But as it is right now, it looks like we've just got to retrace into the B and complete it as a C. I don't see a... God. Otherwise, you'd be doing it this way, right? Even if you like... Oh, God. You called this the 5. You'd be doing A, B, C. You're going to finish it with that? I think not. No, it's not possible. I'm not saying that's not what's happening. I just think that I wouldn't put money at risk on that assumption. It looks like A, B, C into a W. That certainly has the hallmark ingredients of a triangle, as in what the right triangle. And it looks like there's 5 down for the A, B, C. One more down. Okay, so we'll see how that plays here. I am fairly long here. I wouldn't start to get concerned. I have an alert here, right? We start getting below that here, I'm going to get a little more concerned. But as it is right now, I think it's not quite ripe. Like one more swing down here. Maybe they sweep this liquidity. Right here would be juicy, just sitting there, untouched. You'd love to see. Of course, those are the footprints of institutions. I sweep the lows, or algos, whatever you want to think of it. Sweep the lows, grab all the liquidity there. Down, up. It's over, and then down one more time, right? Retail gets bent over on a regular basis. Okay, so that's SUI. So I've got Solana, SUI. Let's do Ripple real quick. I have a completed count over here. So Ripple is kind of the same idea. We were kind of working on could this be 3, 4? Off we go. Well, given the pretty dramatic sell-off we've had here, let's see, I'm still in log scale here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we finished the 1, working on 2. Now it's a ways to go here. If we're going to come down here, now we take it out of log scale, right? You're pretty much already there. You've had 1, this free fall recovery. That looks like a 5 coming down. So back to the same premise, we begin and we end in 5s, right? That's Elliott reality, right? If you're going to apply Elliott Wave, right, you live by that. So A, B, C. at the 50. All right. 50 is 50, right? From the low, that is 50, right? So you can't look at it in log scale and say, well, God, we're not even close to the 50. You know, pick your poison. It'd be a mighty skinny E. Now, note here, I'm using the volume profile from this pivot low, and look where we are, right? There's plenty of all the liquidity is up here. This is where all the trading has been. But if we break below here, it's going to be a long. Well, you can see where the potential targets are. Now we take it out of log scale. Right, they're below the golden. So you do have this, right? If I bring this up right here at the golden, again, untouched, right at that high volume node here. So if we're going to come a little bit lower, if everybody's going to continue to come lower, this would be juicy opportunity for XRP. I'm going to buy more there. All right, so I think that's one to pay attention to. All right, you got to look at them both. I think, as I recall, this is also. Nope, it wasn't. I thought that was golden. Yeah, it was. Pardon me. So golden. Here we got a target down here. I thought that was. Well, maybe I'd miscued it. All right. So that is I get it right on there. Right. It's a wick, and maybe just a little tickle goes through it, but not a close. So still active. Right. Target down here just below. So if we're going to come down here, you'd be reasonable to anticipate the golden zone will hold it prior to getting that target. Right. That'd be close enough. So one to watch for carefully here. Don't, assuming that's not going to happen. Bad. Always assuming they're going to hold. Same as this one. I assume that's going to hold. Right. If you assume it's going to break, you're going to get your ass chewed up. Right. Bad idea. Assume they're going to hold because they usually do. Okay, let's see. So that's did I get all the crypto there? And crypto, yeah. So the last one I wanted to hit on was the NQ. So stand by. Okay, let's finish up with the NQ. Now, this is a collaborative effort. So a lot of back and forth with one of my master Elliottians, PK in this case. We've been digging to try and get an impulse to finish here, and this looks like the only way you can do it. Now, is it ideal? No. We're going to have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's kind of like we talked before. Oh, it's a bit of a stretch. It's the only way to make that work, though, because this is very unusual in here, but you could probably get away with that. This is a little bit of an Elliott shuffle to call that a 3, except it's the only retracement, and it kind of makes sense in terms of where it happens. Put this on here, and we go to our wave 4 template. In between the 23 and the 38, right? Highest probability location for a wave 4. So it's right in the pocket. It's kind of a stretch. So there are times where you've just got to go with what's implied. This is the only place you can put the 3. You can't go A, B, C, which I had considered. It changes the count so much. I think you're better to go 3 because you get the completed impulse here. So if you do it here, then you could probably talk yourself into it. A, B, C. This way as a flat, you would stay above the 1 as the terminus of 4. I don't know that it matters, right? The idea is, okay, we got up here and we did a whole lot of sideways, right? This is just a whole lot of sideways. Now we've just broken the lower edge of it here. The potential for this to have played as a diag, right? Well, you've overlapped the 1 here. Worth noting here. This eliminates that problem, and it's much like what we were talking about with Bitcoin. Okay, well, if we have a low in here and we're going to get back on the bullish trend, we'd be looking at a 1-2 here. Now I am out of log scale, so this would be relatively shallow for a wave 2. It's not like they don't happen. We have a good finish here. So it's working backwards because the 5 here, you want to finish there, right? Again, assuming you're a bull, you want that to finish there. Well, if there's a number of different counts we've considered here. If this were a WXY, which was a prior count and an alternate we considered, because you could look at this and go A, B, C, W, W, X, Y. So A, B, C. But if the way I had previously done it, this would have been the X, and this would have been the A, B, C. That's more bearish. So to allow for this to have completed here and to get back on track for a 1-2, well, that's of course crazy bullish. I'm not ready to commit a lot of capital on this count just yet. I want to see this come out of here with a 5, because we can't eliminate the possibility that this is A, B, C coming. We're going to go lower, and that this count is going to get reshuffled. I think we had a WX. Oh shit. I think it was A, B, C, W, A, B, C, X, and then it would be A, B, C down. But I think we've got a candidate here to avoid that deeper retracement here. And we would, again, if I did, as I did before, and just off of the low here. Well, we're in the value area. A little beyond. From this low, we got a little bit below here, right? So just look, using the whole thing, we're right on the edge of it here. You'd like to see that head back towards the POC, but you cannot eliminate the possibility that we're about to do this. Right, we've got a 5 here that completes it. If the count is going to hold as is, and this is an ABC, well then we should be able to get out of here with a 5 and start working on higher highs and higher lows. I'm on the daily. Let's go to a 2 hour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has all the ingredients for that to be done. But we're going to need, I'd want to see it get on the other side of the POC. So no need to FOMO. Right, there will be a retrace if we're going to get out of here. 1, 2. But encouraging, right, that we didn't sell off any further. And it looks like it's picking up a little speed here going into the close. What time is it? 2? Yeah, it's almost a close now. So good sign that we've got some recovery going into next week. Okay, all right, so I think that'll do it. Oh, that's 31. That's pretty good for me. Okay, I'll keep this one short and sweet. Next week should be more telling, and we get some clues here about how solid these pivot lows are. They're all contenders, but things can change fast. Okay, guys, have a great weekend. You know where to find us, TradeDevils.com. Those of you that are futures traders, you can always check out our indicator site over at TradeDevils-indicators.com, which is linked at TradeDevils.com. So you can get there or just Google it. Okay, guys, have a good weekend. We'll catch you next week.